Let's go to the hotline, and let's welcome in the head coach of the 4-0 Canyon Eagles up there in Randall County. We're pleased to be joined by Coach Todd Winfrey. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you guys today?
I'm excellent. How are things in beautiful Canyon, Texas?
Oh, man, it's God's country up here, man. We're just living the dream.
Well, and you guys have plenty to be excited about after a thrilling win over Amarillo Caprock last week. That was a matchup of unbeatens there up there in the Panhandle, and you guys took care of business. I have to imagine that going into that game to come out with such a narrow win and such a nip and tuck affair has you pretty excited about what not only this means for this particular game, but also moving forward.
Absolutely. First of all, we knew Caprock was an incredible team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're huge, they're fast, they're well coached. Coach Sherwood's as good a coach as there is in the country. And so we knew we were going to have our hands full anyway. And then, that game didn't exactly go the way we thought it was going to. We were down 32-14 with 7.5 minutes to go and found a way to come back and win. And so obviously those are the kind of things that you can come in the film room and meet with your kids and just explain to them, guys, this is something we can build on. This can be a defining moment, for our program and our season. And of course, it's nice to get the win, but, it's just part of the process when you're in non-district football, trying to keep improving and keep getting better and getting ready for that first district game on October 14th.
Well, and speaking of which, what's so remarkable about that comeback to me is it's not you guys have a few really important seniors. I don't want to downplay them, but looking at your squad, you guys seem real young. You guys played something like 16 sophomores last year, stuff like that. So does that make the comeback win even more satisfying and gratifying for you, knowing that you're doing it with guys who are kind of still getting their feet underneath them?
It does. We talked in the interview after the game. We only had 3 returning starters on offense and defense this year. And, you say it's not necessary, not to focus on the seniors, but it's a huge credit to those seniors for loving on and helping grow and helping mature and bring into the pack those young kids and empower them and make them feel part of the team. And to do something special like that on a Friday night, it takes a lot of mental fortitude. And for some young kids to be an integral part of that was pretty special. It really was.
Talking with Todd Winfrey, the head coach of the Canyon Eagles here on Texas Football Today. You can involve the conversation # TF Today. All right, Coach, one of those seniors, the aforementioned seniors, is Derek Clements, your quarterback. And you guys ask him to do a lot. Looking at the stats, I believe he's involved in 56% of the plays, either throwing or running the ball. You coached him last year there in your first year there. You've been on the staff there. You've seen him kind of come through the program. How have you seen your quarterback grow over the course of his career?
Whatever spectrum or chart you could come up with, it's bigger than that. The way he's grown, it's been incredible, and it's what we challenged him to do coming into this. He's always been a talent. He's beautiful. He's 6'4", about 215. He's a prototype. But in his sophomore year, which he came in, that was our semifinal run and bailed us out in that quarterfinal game. But last year he did amazing things, but mentally just wasn't quite over the hump. And so, what we challenged him to do this year was really to be that guy. And what I mean by that is when something negative happens, is to be able to let it go. Quarterbacks have to be on an even keel. And I've been so proud of him. When something good happens, he's an even keel. When something bad happens, he responds the same way. And he's kind of just kept this steady Eddie approach to himself. He's letting us coach him. Coach Rabb, our quarterback coach, does a great job. And, of course, I've done quarterbacks my whole career, and so I kind of jump in there too. And he lets us coach him, and he lets us coach him hard. And this, every great program, the way you coach your quarterback is the way you coach your team. And sometimes you got to jump your quarterback's butt to make a point to the rest of the team. And he's embracing that. And because of that, he's starting to flourish. And I think that's all because of his mindset coming into this season to actually, approach being the senior leader we needed him to be.
Another guy on the other side of the ball, your defense has certainly done its part as well, and it's hard not to notice what Javin Cash has meant to your program. You mentioned one of the
no doubt
one of the very few seniors on that defense, and a guy who's leading the team in tackles, a guy who's you see all the highlights, and it seems like he's in on every tackle. The numbers are impressive, the film is impressive. You're the guy who sees him every day in the practice. What is it about your senior linebacker Javin Cash that sets him apart?
Jay Cash he's the guy that shows up every day. There's not a day off for that dude, and it's not more important, or it's more important to him than anybody. And we made it real clear early on, and we haven't hid this, that as Javen goes, so goes our defense. He's just the bell cow for us. And we've got some other cats on that defense, like a Hunter Anderson, that does a great job on the back end. But Javen's the heartbeat of that thing. And as long as he shows up and keeps doing what he does every day, I think our defense has a fighting dog's chance. I really do. He's a special, special kid. He's a special player. Comes from a great family.
You are in your second year in there in the big chair. Of course, you've been there, for years and years and years. You're no stranger to the program. You were a longtime assistant under Coach Blake Bryant for the legend up there in Canyon. I'm interested now. You're a season and a quarter into what's hopefully going to be a long run there at Canyon. What do you know about this job now that maybe you didn't know when you took over?
I get asked that a lot. Replacing a legend like Blake Bryant, you can't replace him. You're just the next guy up. There's no replacing somebody that's that incredible. But you didn't know how much of the job that didn't have to do with football. There's things you deal with on a daily basis, and you're not really worried about football or getting practice ready. The football part of it, Coach Bryant entitled me and put me in a position to let me do a lot of things that head coaches do, and I had a lot of responsibility, and I appreciate that from him. But it was the other stuff, the sitting here at the desk from 8 a.m. until about 2:15. That you learn on a daily basis, and some of it you're like, man, I never in my life dreamed I'd be doing this today. But at the end of the day, it's just such a blessing to get to do this job. There's no place you'd rather do it, and I've got I know you got a pretty dang good job, brother, but I got a pretty dang good job too.
We can just agree. We both got pretty good jobs.
Yes, sir.
We're allowed to each have good jobs. Todd Winfrey, the head coach of Canyon, joining us here on Texas Football Today. Coach, I'm interested. You guys, District 3, 4A, Division 1, a lot of teams across the state starting district play this week. You guys got another month. You guys aren't going to start up until week 8 because of a 5-team district. How does that change the way you approach things, knowing that you're going to have 6 non-district games before things really get real? How do you approach that?
Well, first of all, we're starting a week earlier than we have been the last 4 years, because it used to be a 4-team district. Yeah. So we're kind of glad it's a 5-team now. But, I think it is a little different. I think you've got to come into that knowing we've got, 3 weeks of fall camp and then 6 non-district games and then an open week. And so, that's a 10-week period. Mm-hmm. And so, number one, you've got to have a plan or a vision to just steadily increase, from day one until that first district game. I think you've got more time than some people have. So you've got the ability to make changes and tweak things and look at things and look at a couple things you might want to try offensively or defensively. Everybody knows what the base things we're going to do are, but you can tinker just a little bit and maybe see what exactly a kid can do in this role or that role. And it gives you a little more time. Now, I think you got to do a good job focusing, because six weeks of games where those kids know that these are just non-district games, and every game's important to us, but there's a major difference in a non-district and a district game. So keeping them energetic and focused and on task is a big part of that deal, making it fun and keeping practice fresh for those guys. And we've still got two more games and then an open week before we start on October 14th. So it's different. It's interesting to watch people start their district now, and sometimes you take a breath and go, okay, good. We've still got a couple more games to really tweak all the little things that we want to work on.
And that includes coming up this week, taking on a good Midland Greenwood squad. You guys got to travel up there to Purser Field, up there at J.M. King Memorial Stadium. I don't want to ask you to give away all your secrets. I know you're deep into film, but when you take a look at what you're up against with the Rangers coming up this week, what do you see?
Well, first of all, I see a coach in Coach Purser that's from a legendary family, an incredible coach. Their staff does a good job. Midland Greenwood's notorious for just playing freaking hard football. They play fast, they play physical. We got to go scout them Friday night because our game was on Thursday, and watched them play shallow water and beat an incredible shallow water team. They just execute. They didn't make mistakes. They just play good football. And Coach Purser's son can kick it a country mile. He hit a 61-yarder in that game. And so, if you let those guys across the 50-yard line, they're going to get 3 points out of it. So we've got to stop the run. They do a great job running the football. They, coach or their quarterback is the Flowers kid, and does a heck of a good job. And they're just a good team. Their defensive line's really physical, so we're going to have to really do a good job up front and kind of do what we did Thursday night. And we made some mistakes, but we took care of the football. We didn't turn it over. We played field position when we needed to, and I think that's what we have to do. And hopefully we can make that trip down to Midland and come out okay.
He's Todd Winfrey. He's the head coach of the 4-0 Canyon Eagles. Coach, appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the fantastic win on Thursday and the fantastic start to the season, and best of luck this week.
Man, I appreciate it. Thanks for all you do for us in high school sports and high school football. You guys are we call it the purple standard up here, but you're the gold standard of what radio shows and publications are. So appreciate you, Tep.
Appreciate you, Coach. There he goes.
Thanks, buddy. See you, man. Play for the C.
Todd Winfrey. Always branding, head coach of the Canyon Eagles, joined us here at Texas Football today. Exciting times up there in Canyon. This is a team. It's interesting. He mentioned kind of following a legend who was there under Blake Bryant. Forever, for 20 years, and then he gets the big chair, and it's hard to follow a legend. Last year, 8-3. A solid year, I would say. This year, something special cooking. That's a really nice win over Caprock. Mm-hmm. Especially if they get Greenwood and Andrews to round out non-district play. Then they get into district play, and look, the district's tough. You're gonna have to deal with Dumas. You're gonna have to deal with a Canyon Randall team that's playing really well. I think Pampa is better than 2-2. So they're gonna get tested early and often. But this is a team that right now is playing really good ball, and you should be paying attention to the Canyon Eagles and their coach Todd Winfrey. We appreciate his time.